everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 11 Pro and see how this specific iPhone holds up in the later part of 2023. Now, I will tell you so far, there's been a few big changes with this particular phone. The first thing being, this is actually an iPhone that came out in 2019. It's a little bit older. I've already reviewed this thing earlier this year and the mid-year of this year, and I've done a lot of different things with this phone throughout this year. I've compared this thing against its direct successors, which were the 12, 13, 14, 15, and now, 15 Pro and all those other iPhones. I also saw the next version of software come out for this thing, and I've installed all the betas and the official versions up until now, which is like 17.1, and the beta of 17.2 is almost out now too. So this particular phone has a lot of development going on with it. I will tell you though, the exterior has still stayed the same as it always will be. You're still getting that 5.8-inch Super Retina Extra OLED display. This was one of the last 5.8-inch devices that Apple made. After this, on the Pro models, they've always been 6.1 inches. Personally for me though, I used the 11 Pro from like 2019 to 2020, and I had an amazing time with it. I had so much fun with this device, and I still think the exterior of this body holds up extremely well, even against the iPhone 15 Pro. And that display is still very nice, even with a notch up top. You're still getting that lightning port at the bottom, which looks amazing. It's still functional. The USB-C port is probably better, but it's still very good on this type of device. You're getting that frosted glass back on the back of this phone too, which is amazing. Having that frosted glass back is really, really good. And that in and of itself is definitely one of the things that's held this phone up throughout the test of time. And this was the first iPhone to bring a frosted glass back. Since then, now it's even on all the iPhones Apple makes now, which is pretty crazy. Still that triple camera setup, first iPhone to bring it. So the exterior I've hit on so much this year. It still holds up very, very well from that perspective, and it definitely gets a thumbs up for me for a fact. Now, on top of that, from a software standpoint, like I said, I installed iOS 17, and iOS 17 was a pretty good version of software in my opinion. I thought it brought some things to the table that were definitely needed. Not like the biggest update of all time, but I do think it was a pretty important one, and I do think when it comes down to it, it gets a thumbs up for me from that perspective. I will say though, the stability has still been, still needed to be improved a little bit, but I do think compared to like the rest of the landscape, I feel like the iPhone 15 Pro may have had more issues on iOS 17 than the iPhone 11 Pro did in my opinion. In terms of performance though, I directly compared this thing against the iPhone 15 Pro, compared against the 14 Pro and 13 Pro and 12 Pro when those iPhones first came out years ago, and I still feel the same way. The 11 Pro, for it being as old as it is, and for it still having a 60Hz panel, is still a very smooth iPhone. Of course, it's not as fast as the 15 Pro, but I think it's like a mixture of the way this phone feels in the hand and the way this thing performs. It's genuinely kind of, it's actually very, very cool. So in my opinion, the performance of this phone with it having 4GB of RAM and that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside, I think it's still a very, very good performing phone. It's not perfect, but I think it definitely gets the job done. And for a majority of people out there, if you're wanting to go ahead and just buy an iPhone and kind of move on with your life, this is not a bad option in my opinion. I will say though a few things. Of course, this is an older iPhone. It's pretty much second in line of getting discontinued right now in terms of the years. The 2018 iPhones are still supported. The 2019 iPhones are still supported, but those are the two lowest groups. What's probably going to end up happening is Apple's probably going to go ahead and drop the iPhone XR next year, and the year after they're probably going to go through and drop something like the iPhone 11 Pro. So this iPhone could potentially get like another 2 years of software updates, and I think that'd be really cool. We're going to have to kind of wait and see, but overall what I'll tell you is the iPhone 11 Pro I think is a very good iPhone. I think it's still worth buying. Maybe it wouldn't be the first iPhone I'd recommend buying, but I think it's a very good option when it comes down to it. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.